Hi everyone, we are here at Community Wellness Series. We are doing Traditions as Medicine with Tom Porter. We are going to start with an opening prayer from Tom.
First, I send my greetings to everybody today. First, I'll start. Nếu có tiếng nào slot đi, có những quê đặc kệ, nếu có tiếng hoặc quay tại ý, nếu có tiếng uy ở New York, nếu có quay nhà hết sẽ, nếu có tiếng uy ở hệ, nếu để song cao uy song quay ở đi song, nếu uy ở hệ, có đâu có chuyện quay hốt nó học, nếu ông quay ông quay, ta có tiếng uy ở hệ, nếu để song cao uy ở hệ có đến hoa là đó, nếu có quan trọng cái có đâu vậy, mình sẽ đánh nhau. Nếu có win nó có nè, mình hoa đông sla. Akadi wi wa he ne ne de don jo ha ne yo jin ko no to ne ya kwa ne ko chi kwa ko ni ngwe to ke ya to mo ka ya to de ni ma yo da jin ko no to ka di wi de ga di so ka di ko di wa ne ko so te ta ya ne sa ni ko na ne ka di la di na la ka pina di wa no de ne o ka ste o ne ka di to no dan to we o ke ko as ka di ko ni ko ma yo ta ta ka di ni to ka sa ni ko na. The Creator at the beginning of the world, when He made the human beings and gave us life, and He breathed 3 breaths of air into our mouth, and we became alive and having mobility. But our minds of our great grandfather and grandmothers were blank. It had not yet been developed what to think or how to use the brain. And so the Creator stood up the man and a woman on the earth after breathing in their mouth 3 times, giving them life. And then He started to transfer His thinking into the human, the great grandfather and grandmother of ours, how they should think and how they should know as they are going to dwell and journey on our Mother Earth. And so here's what He put in their mind. He said, first of all, He said the Creator is the one who made all the universe and all of life. And all of life together is what we refer to as Sangkaya or Creator. So everything in life is sacred, and never to abuse it, never to hoard it, never to be stingy about it. Only use what you need to survive, and then there will always be a life. So He said, so that's why now everyone who's listening, we will gather our minds together as one. And then we will layer many thank yous and greetings and love, and we will throw it into the universe, and we say greetings and love, we give it to you, our Creator. And then our mind is all one. And when the people heard the speaker say our mind is one, all the people who heard that will say to or And so that's what we do, is we send our greetings and thanksgiving and our kindness to our Creator, and our mind is agreed to. And then He said, I put you on the earth, and the earth is a woman. And the earth is not just a woman, but she is the mother of all humans, all animals, all birds, everything that lives. The earth is the mother to all life, not just humans. And that is where your feet will be supported by your mother's body as you dwell upon her. You will always respect and honor your mother, the earth. And if you do that every day and every night, then Mother Earth will take care of you and your family, and she will provide all the food and the nourishment that you will need to live a good life. And so, as you and I recall in our memory our teachings of our mother and our grandma and grandfather, we do not remember a time when our Mother Earth has ever failed us or abandoned us. She is there every day, and every day in the morning we eat, at noon we eat, and towards the sundown we eat again, and in between snacks. And every bit of that food that we ate during the day, it came from the garden of our Mother Earth's body. Since the beginning of the time of the world of human, our mother has been doing that without fail because the Creator told her to do that. So I'm asking that you and I, who are the children of the Mother Earth, gather our minds together as though we were one person. And then what we will do before us in a symbolic spiritual way, we will put many thank yous and greetings and love, layer and layers of it. And then you and I, who are the children of Mother Earth, will pick up this big thank you, greetings and love, and we will give it gently to our Mother the Earth, because she has never abandoned us, and she fed us again today, and she guarantees our life right to this moment. And so with love we say thank you, Mother Earth, and our mind is agreed. And the people said to or uh-huh. And then it is also that the Creator placed the water on the Mother Earth. And at the beginning of the world, He put a spirit or a soul into the water. And He even gave it a voice. That's why you hear the raindrop when it hits upon the Mother Earth or your house roof. That's why in the creek you hear the creek moving and making a noise, gentle noise. But then it can holler and roar like a lion. And all you need to do is go to Niagara Falls and you will hear the roar of the water spirit. And then the Creator said the water is living. It has a soul and it has a spirit. And I have instructed the water that they will leave from the mountain tops and the top of the hills and go through the valleys where the Mohawks live, Ojibwe, Algonquin, Lakotas, English, Italian, everybody. And when it passes our village, our town, the water will quench our thirst. And we will use the water to cook our food and to prepare our medicine when we are not feeling well. And then when we are sweaty and grimy from working, we can jump in the river or take a shower and our body will be refreshed. So the water, since the beginning of the human's memory, has never failed us. That water is there to quench our thirst every day and to help us to live. And that's the way the Creator made it. And so, because of that, we gather our minds together, everyone today. A good mind we use. And we put many layers of thank you, greetings, and love together. And we pick it up and we throw some to the north, some to the west, some to the south, and some to the east, so that every river and every creek, every lake, every ocean will receive the human our thanks and our love because they quench our thirst yet today since the beginning of time. So waters of the world, with love we say thank you and we greet you today, and our mind is agreed. And all the people said, oh, uh-huh. And then it is also that the Creator planted gardens for us and for the Yungwanushuni people. He chose the corn and beans and squash, and he calls them the three sisters. They will be the head or the leaders of things that grow in the garden that we will plant. And then there are many other vegetables that grow, but their leader is that corn, beans, and squash. And so for us Haudenosaunee, those three are still used in our ceremonies throughout the year since the beginning of time. And so to the things that grows in the garden, the leader, the corn, bean, and squash, we have gathered our mind now, the humans, and we send to them our thank you, our greetings, and our kindness, because right now they're dormant. Soon they will awaken, and they will be placed in the soil of Mother Earth, and they will grow, and then they will harvest a lots of food for when the next cold winter comes, we will survive. And so to all the vegetations in the form of garden and all the vegetation that are free, we don't plant it, it's not domesticated. It grows by Mother Earth and by the Creator in the wilderness where everything is free. That's also food for us. So to everything that's vegetation, we send our thank you, our greetings, and our kindness, and our mind is agreed. And the people said no. And then it is also that our Creator made the trees in the forest, the big timbers, big long tree. And then of all the varieties of trees in the forest where we live, he chose the maple tree we call wakta tree, the maple tree, sugar maple. And he said that maple tree will be the leader or the chief of all the trees that's in the forest. And when the snow begins to melt, that's just past now, that maple tree's blood or sap will begin to flow before any other tree. And we will tap that tree, and that sap will become a cleanser and a purifier for all. And then we will save the sap and cook it, and it'll turn into a maple syrup and also sugar, so that we can prepare our foods with it throughout the year. And so our people were working hard last month to save the sap from the maple and also preparing ceremonies to get permission to tap the trees. And when they finished, a big maple tree ceremony was held by each of the nations to give thanks to the sacredness of all the trees, their leader, the maple. And so it is, soon the leaves will start to bud, and then there will be peaches, cherries, apples, and pears, and bananas, oranges, all kind of fruits. The list is long of how the Creator made it, that the forest will give us what we need to live. And included is the hickory nut, the walnut, the pecan nut, and on and on. And perhaps the biggest gift of all from the trees of the forest is they're the one that makes the wind or the air that we breathe, called oxygen, that is vital for all life. So when you add it up, what the Creator did when He made the trees, it's enormous and beneficial to all life. So that's the reason why you and I who are listening today will gather our minds as though we were one person And then we will layer many thank yous and greetings and kindness, and we will distribute it to the north, south, east, and west. So every tree and every forest of the entire world will receive our gratitude and our emotion of love. And when they receive these messages, the trees and of the forests of the world will be energized, and they will even grow bigger and produce more for us, the animals and the birds and the humans. And so to the maple trees and all the trees, the forests of the world, we send our thank you, our greetings and our love today, and our mind is agreed. And all the people said, oh. And then amongst the forests, the Creator placed animals, little ones like squirrels and chipmunks, raccoons and bigger ones, and into the deer and moose and all kinds of animals. And of all those animals, the Creator chose the deer to be the leader or the chief of all the animals, big and small. And that's why when women put our leaders up, the men, they placed the antlers of the deer on their custowes, because the deer is a sacred animal and is the chief of all animal world. And so with oneness of mind, because we still see the deer, and our young still gathers the deer for the midwinters to feed the nation, our young men do that yet. And because of that, we place before us in a spiritual way many thank yous, greetings, and love, and then we send it to the deer, all the animals of the world, so that they will know that we know them and we are grateful for their existence and their contribution to our life. So we say thank you with love to the animal world through the deer, and our mind is agreed. And the people said, oh. And then it is also at the beginning of the world, when the world was new, the Creator made the birds, and He put all different kind of feathers, colored feathers on their body, different kind of birds, so they will be beautiful when they fly. Then He gathered each of the birds. He gave each of them a song or a rhythm to sing. And then, after all of that, He chose the eagle to be the chief of all the birds. And then He said to the birds, with the songs that I gave you, you will rise at dawn before the sun shows his face, and you will face the east, and you will sing your songs just before the sun shows his face at dawn. And when the animals and the humans hear you singing your beautiful songs, they will start their day with a joyous mind and a good mind. And what your songs will do is you will shake the minds of the humans, so that boredom and lonesomeness and sadness will not find a home in their mind, but instead the joyous sounds of life they will hear, and they will have the strength to live a good life. And so the birds are still flying since the beginning of time, and if you all get up early enough, you will hear them singing, even in the cold winter. That's the way the Creator made it. So with oneness of mind, we send our thank you, greetings, and love to all the birds of the world and their leader, the eagle. And our mind is agreed. And the people said, oh. And then it is also that the Creator, He also made the berries that grows And of all the berries that grows, he chose the strawberry to be the leader or the chief of the berry world. After the snow of winter goes away, the first berry to flower is the strawberry, and the first flower to turn into a berry fruit is the strawberry. It is the berry that came from the other world in the sky, where our great great grandmother came from. She is the one who brought it here, and it is referred to as the big medicine, the strawberry. So after the strawberry appears, then the raspberry, blackberry, gooseberry, all kinds of berries, right until the snow flies again. There'll be berries picked for the birds, the animals, and the humans. And so, to the berries of the world the Creator made, we gather our minds together as one. We send our thank you and our greetings and our love to the strawberry and to all the berries of the last summer. And right now they're dormant, and soon they will awaken, and again they will produce good food, sweet food for us and the animals and the birds. And so to the berry world, we say thank you today, and our mind is agreed. And the people said, To. Then it is also that the Creator made the four sacred winds from the east, the north, the south, and the west. And it is these four sacred winds that help us to live in balance. Our elders said that whenever our Mother Earth gets tired from giving birth and nourishing birth, just like one woman will get tired after a day's work of taking care of her kids, feeding and cooking for them so they may live, Mother Earth is in charge of millions and millions of life, not just humans, animals and birds. And so she'll get tired too, just like a human. And so our grandmother and elders said, when Mother Earth gets tired and exhausted, then the wind of the east and the wind of the north sees her exhaustion, and they bring a white blanket of snow, and they cover Mother Earth's body so she may rest from her exhaustion for a period of time. And then after Mother Earth has rested, then it is the wind of the south and the west who come, and they gently, slowly remove the white blanket of snow, which they have just done. And then Mother Earth will awaken, and upon Mother Earth's body, wall to wall, will be green grass and flowers of every size and every color, and fragrances that fill the air of a springtime and the rebirth when little baby Mohawks and little baby deers and little baby robins will be born again. So the four sacred wind helps us to live and bring balance to life and take care of us. And so we gather our minds. We are listening, and with one mind, we put many layers of thank you, greetings, and love together, and we send it to the south, to the east, to the north, and the west, so that every wind hears us as we send them our gratitude for the gifts they give us each day and each night throughout the year to help us live. The four sacred wind, we say thank you to you with kindness today, and our mind is agreed. And the people all says to. And then in the western sky, our Creator placed over there. We call them our grandfathers, the thunders. In the Mohawk, we say, Iti sotugunga la diwelas. That means our grandfathers, the thunders. So the Creator said, the grandfather thunder will come to see his grandchildren periodically. When he comes, he roars his voice across the sky, thunder, to let us know he's about to approach our villages, our communities, so that our elders and people can gather their pipes. The sacred smoke of our tobacco can rise as gifts, and as the hands of our people to gather and to greet our grandfather the thunders. The Creator told them that when they visit our villages, they will bring fresh water to renew the creeks and the rivers and the lakes where we live. They will bring the water so that our strawberry gardens and raspberry gardens and blackberry gardens, well, their thirst will be quenched and they will grow and they will be healthy. So the thunder, they purify and they quench the thirst of Mother Earth. And so that is why we call them our grandfathers and we are their grandchildren. And it is always a great delight to hear them. And we've already heard them. They've come already. And our pipes, we did smoke and send the sacred smoke to them to welcome them to begin their work this season. And so all of us that are listening, we become one mind now. And we pile many thank yous and greetings and love together. And we send it to our Thunder Grandfather. And we say, thank you. You never forgot us where we live. And that you continue to help us. And everything that grows, you water them. You quench their thirst. We say, thank you with love in our mind is agreed. And the people said, to. And then there's two suns in the sky. One sun is called the daytime sun. He's our eldest brother. And because he's our eldest brother, and we are the younger sibling, that's why he's way up in the sky so he can watch over us like a babysitter because we're younger than he. And he shines the light so that you and I can see as we walk upon the sacred Mother Earth that we won't collide with a tree or other humans, but we will have respect because we can see with the light of the sun. Then our Creator said to our old brother sun, he will bring the heat that will make the corn grow, the berries grow, and the little babies grow into adulthood. And so to our old brother sun, who miraculously never abandoned us since the beginning of time of our memory, we send our thank you, our greetings, and our love to our brother sun. For if he ever goes out, there will be nobody, animal, bird, or deer, or human, that will survive. And so that's why we say thank you, oh brother sun. We live again another day, another miracle. And with love we say thank you, oh brother sun. In our mind is agreed, and the people said to. And then the second sun, we call her our grandmother, the moon. And she dwells mostly at night, and once in a while you can see her in the day, but it's rare. And the Creator said that the moon is our grandmother, and she will regulate the cycle of all women throughout the world so that their bodies can prepare a place for a little baby to be born, a little human to be born. And so every 28 to 30 days, women of the world follows her direction, and the babies of all the nations are born. And our grandmother, the moon, it is said, raises with her power the great oceans up and down every day. We were born, our children, our grandchildren, and our great grandchildren are born. And because of that, our minds become one, and we put layers of thank you, greetings, and love, and we send it to our grandmother, the moon, thanking her for the birth of all. And now our mind is agreed, and all the people said to. Then our Creator made the stars of the sky world to beautify the world at night time, and there is no one who can draw or paint a picture more beautiful than how the Creator made the stars that fill the nighttime sky. And it is the stars that bring the morning dew on every grass in the dry time of summer. And so to the stars who guide our young, if they become lost at night in their travel, they're the ones that will guide them back to their villages. And so to the stars and their great beauty, we say thank you to you with love, and our mind is agreed. And all the people said to. And then it is also that our Creator made the four sacred beings called the sky dweller beings. They are unseen forces, for they don't have a face or a body. They're like the wind, and they're the helpers of our Creator. And whenever we forgot what our Creator told us, the Creator sends one of them to be born to remind us and refresh our memory of the teachings of our Creator. And that's where our clans came from. And that's where what I'm talking about right now came from. That's where our four sacred rituals that all longhouses do yet today since the beginning of time. That's where our great law came from, our Cayuga, everything, our peacemaker, teachings of Handsome Lake, the clan system, all was given to us by the power of the four sacred beings. And so to the four sacred beings and all the messages they gave to us, we say thank you with love, and our mind is agreed. And the people said, oh. And now finally we come back to our Creator, the maker of all the universe. Our grandma and uncle told us as we were growing that our Creator and the Mother Earth, they made everything perfect. There's nothing lacking. All we got to do is say thank you every day and never abuse life. And then our life will be like a circle. It will not end because our children will continue the path and their children. And so to our Creator who made this perfect world, we gather our minds together, we the people today, through this computer. They call it Zoom. And before us, we put many thank yous and greetings and love, and we jointly pick it up and we throw it into the universe. And we say, Creator, thank you for the perfect world we live in. And our mind is agreed. And the people said, to. That is the Reader's Digest form of the opening or the Thanksgiving address, what we call Ohondok Aihodeko. And so I turn it back over to the coordinator of the Zoom here. And if I miss anything, then I ask each of you to add, if I forgot something to be grateful for, then you do it. And then altogether, it will be complete because we help each other. And that's the way the Creator intended the world to be. I turn it back over to the coordinator now. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, for the beautiful opening prayer. My name's Caitlin, and I'm the Communications Assistant in the Communications Department at Six Nations of the Grand River. Before we start into the session, we wanted to share with you the reasons that this series was created. We created the series to help the community stay connected during the pandemic. It was recognized that under the strains of isolation and concerns surrounding everything COVID-19, that many of us were feeling low and a great loss of connection to all of the events, peoples, and cultures that make us Six Nations. Our hope is that these sessions give you the chance to learn and connect in a community-like setting to help alleviate some of those mental health strains that come with those uncertain times. For those of you who joined us for our first installment, we are doing things a bit differently this time. GANDAO Community Crisis Response Team and the Six Nations of the Grand River Communications Team have joined up with several teams from across Six Nations health and social teams to create these sessions based off the amazing feedback we received from the last presentations. Each team was hosting their own session based on their team's own unique expertise, and working with these teams have been an honor and has been an honor, and the dedication and the time everyone has put into the details of each session truly makes us a community effort. I would like to take this time to say Na'a Koa for all of our hard work and commitment you have to the wellness for Six Nations. With that being said, I'd like to go over a couple house rules. For those of you who are joining us through Zoom, please be mindful of your microphone and to be sure to stay muted while the presentation is going. Also, please be mindful that if you choose to share yourself on screen, to remember that everyone who is on the Zoom call can see what is on your screen. When you send correspondence on the chat box, everyone can see those as well. Absolutely no foul language, bullying, or any kinds of threats of violence will be tolerated if you're posting on Facebook or through Zoom in either chats or through the video. Any of these actions or comments will be removed and you may ask to leave the session. Lastly, we kindly ask any media who are present or watching the replay that if you wish to report on the wellness series or wish to quote anyone who is speaking during today's presentation, to contact or reach out to our communications officer, Katie, at commsofficer@sixnations.ca, and I already plugged that information into the chat. Now that we've gone all over that, the session about the importance of family and keeping a good mind will commence, and I'd like to turn it back over to Tom. Thank you for being with us today.
I'm not sure just what you want me to talk about next.
Tom, today we're talking about the importance of family and keeping a good mind.
Okay, when you say family, the word for family in the Mohawk language is kahwajile. Kahwajile. That's how we say family. And what does that translate into? Although it means family, it doesn't really say that directly. When you say kahwajile, you're talking about a fire. So we use a fire to define family. And so, but what you don't want to know means a big family or a big fire. And then when they say, when they have a marriage in the longhouse, they say to the young man and woman, we don't know how many children you will have. It's up to the Creator. But they'll say, That means let your fire, your family, means the sparks will fly from the main fire, and each spark is a child. So for those that are learning our language, it's best when you learn it, what the real meaning of the word is you're talking about, and what it's hooked to. Then it becomes whole. But if we learn the language like a parrot, just repeat like a tape recorder does, then the language that you learn that way is void of a soul and a spirit and a history. So that's my advice to families. When you teach your kids, teach them the whole language, what it means, not just to talk it, but to understand it. So when at our Longhouse marriage, I don't know too much about European, the way they get married. I don't really know. I don't think I ever went to a European wedding in my life. I don't recall any of it. Only Longhouse. That's the way. Only one I know. So that's the one I have to quote. When they put them together, it has to be consented by the woman. The groom who's going to get married, his mother, has to be there and consent to his getting married. And the woman who's going to get married, they call it bride, her mother has to be sitting with her, and she has to give permission. Doesn't matter how old they are, even if they're 30 or 40 years old and your mother's still living, you still have to get permission from them. That's what our tradition says and does. And then after about a couple hours of our leaders and faith keepers and chiefs talking to marry them, it's not a 5-minute job. It takes all day almost for marriage to take place. It's not taken lightly. And there's no stone that's unturned when traditional marriage takes place. So they provide you during the marriage ceremony of all the things to expect in marriage so that you may prepare and be strong in a successful marriage. But at the end of all of this, they say that this marriage of this brilliant woman is witnessed by all the people and the leaders and faith keepers and grandmothers and all the guests that came are only a witness. But the pledges of the man and the woman to each other in the marriage, the main witness is the Creator. And when they pick up the wampum, which we call gajista, which is also from the word family or fire, gajista means fire. That's the wampum of each nation. So when they get married, they hold that man and woman that got married holds that fire, and it's symbolic of the fire. They don't bend it; they hold it at the end, so it's straight down, up and down, which represents the fire. So that when the fire is straight, then the smoke from the sacred tobacco put on a fire goes straight up to connect to the Creator and to the universe. So the Creator listens and watches everything that young couple is doing. The promises and the pledge to honor and respect each other for as long as they live. For in the traditional Lone House, there is no such thing as a divorce. You have to be married until you die. And that's the only thing that can free you once you're married. Is if one of the partner dies, then you're free to marry again if you want to. But the old-fashioned Iroquois, even if somebody dies and you're allowed to marry, like my grandmother, they said no. Uh, Once they married, that was enough. They're not going to look for another. That's the old thinking of the real traditional people because they honored their partner even if they died. It's like the eagle. My grandmother said it's the law of the eagle. The male eagle and the female eagle, once they get together and have a family, if one of them should die, the other one will never remarry an eagle. They fly alone the rest of their life. And so my grandmother says, I followed the law of the eagle. But when my grandpa died, she said she never will look for another man. They had 11 kids, and she did her job. Then she passed away a few years later to join my grandfather. But when they finished the ceremony, they said, how many kids you have? You will take them to the longhouse midwinter maple tree ceremony, thunder ceremony, planting ceremony, strawberry ceremony, and on, all the way around the cycle until it gets back to the midwinter or New Year's ceremony. The you as a mother now, and if you are given children to be born, you will bundle them up or dress them up and prepare them and take them. Prepare your feast basket with the utensils needed, and you will take your children to all the ceremonies whenever the longhouse opens up. And that's where your children will grow, and that's where your children will be a part of the Creator's ceremonial life. And they will hear our chiefs and our faith keepers and our elders, our orators, when they talk, they will listen and they will learn and they will grow. That's the way the Creator said. And so that's what about a family. How to have a strong family is to do that. So that's what I have done, me and my wife. We have 6 kids, 5 girls and 1 boy. And every time the longhouse door opened for a ceremony, we were all sitting there with our feast basket and our kids. And we always prepared our kids too, that when they go to the longhouse ceremony, to be quiet. When our elders are talking, our faith keepers are talking, that they are to listen everything what they're saying. Because someday our leaders and faith keepers will not be here anymore. They will get old and pass away. And when they do, you, who are the children, will have to take over and become the next leader, the next faith keepers. So that's why you have to listen as a child to them, what they're talking about and how they do things, so that when it becomes your turn, you will be able to do it and our nation will not fall. It is also that when we are home, a mother and a father is always explaining the ceremony that they went to or any questions that the children has about the ceremony attended. If they didn't understand something, then it is up to the father and the mother or the grandma of the family to explain it to them from A to Z. Where did it come from? Why do we do it? What does it mean? so that the full picture is understood by our children. And year after year, when our children are growing, we're never supposed to yell at our kids or scold our kids, never to raise our voice when we talk to our kids. Because it says if we do scold and holler our kids, they will build a wall between them and the father and the mother. So the next time the mother or father wants to talk to them, there's a wall. So they have to holler more louder than they did before, and the wall gets bigger. And then the next time, the wall is bigger, and they have to really scream at them. And there will be chaos in the family. You don't want that to happen. So our uncle and our grandmother and our mother told us, so when you talk to your kids, don't be scolding and hollering at them. They're not deaf. Talk to them the way a human's supposed to talk to another human. Be gentle and be serious. Have a dialogue. And that's how your children will learn the proper things and the proper way to respect their life and their relationship in life. But there are times also when our children will misbehave, but that's part of the process of life, of growing. It's just like a little baby when he learns to walk, he will fall many times before he can walk properly. And each time he falls, that little child has learned more how to walk better. Pretty soon he starts to run. He learns so well. But that's because he made mistakes by falling. And so that's the same thing with your family, your children, when they are growing. The mistakes they made, you shouldn't get angry at it, but look at it as another step to the walk, their journey. That's how they learn, and they'll learn real good. But if at some time your child will misbehave, you talk to him gently or her gently, and if they ignore you and they don't listen, then what they in our tradition what it says is you take a dipper or a cup of water, cold water. After the second time they don't listen, the third time they don't listen as you talk to them properly, then you take that dipper of cold water and you throw it on that child's face, right in the middle of the face when they're not listening. And that water doesn't cut the face or the skin, it doesn't break a bone, but the child grasps for air and is startled because the water will purify that child because something has touched that child because they're not listening, something from a negative part of the world. So the water is medicine. It washes that away, that which was going to lead the child to another good life. That water will wash it away and clear him. And now he will listen. And now you can tell him what he's supposed to, what mistake he made, and how not to do that, and why. And that's how he learns. If for some reason, because children are influenced from schools, from social things, and they can learn things they're not supposed to learn from other places outside the family, but you still use a good mind and a soft voice to talk to them. But if the water doesn't work, then you explain to that child, and this time, if the water doesn't work, you take your child by the hand and you go into the field where it's wet, where there's a red willow uh, sticks growing. The bush that's got a red, really red, almost a burgundy red covering. It's called medicine too. So you will take your child who is not behaving, and you take your tobacco, and you go with your child to go pick that one red willow. And when you get to where the red willow is growing, you pass the first red willow, and the second red willow, and the third red willow. You go beyond them, because our elders said that when the red willow is growing, it grows in a village, in a community, just like our communities. Our communities has Luyane and Yaguyane and faith keepers as leaders. And so the medicine world also has chiefs and clan mothers and faith keepers. So that's why you don't never pick the first ones. You go beyond the third. But you leave and you talk to the leaders of that village of medicine, and you tell them your child who has been misbehaving, what their name of your child is. You explain it to them, and you tell them also that the Creator bestowed upon you, the red willow, the power to heal. And so that's why you're here with your child, to take one of your members back home to become a medicine for the misbehaving child. And then when you finish that, usually you'll get your child to cut that whip or that stick that's going to be his medicine. And he gives it to you. And then you explain it to him. You were not listening and misbehaving. So this whip is your whip. And I'm not going to use it on you, but I'm just explaining it to you how it works. If you behave yourself, we'll never use this stick. But when we get home, I'm going to hook it high on a wall so it can watch you. And if you always behave yourself and you don't do any more what you were doing, well, that stick will always be hanging there, never use it. You will never have to use it. But if you don't behave after I tell you in a good way, on the third time you disobey again and misbehave, then I will take that red stick, and on your bare arm or your bare leg, I will hit you with it one time, and I will hit it hard. But that red stick will not break your bone, and it will not cut your skin, but it will sting like a bee. But those stings will be the medicine, and I'll do it only once. And that's when the father or the uncle who is doing that usually cries because he doesn't want to hurt his son. He wants his son or daughter to grow in a good way. And so for him to do that, it causes tears, because it's tears of love. Because it is a crime not to discipline your kids. It is not good if a father and a mother doesn't teach their children and guide them how to grow in a good way. But now he has to use that stick. That's why he cries, because he loves his child and he wants to discipline him away from the misbehavior. And that becomes medicine. And you only do it once. You have to burn tobacco first. You have to take it to the field where that medicine came from. It's a big ritual. It's not just instantaneously you get mad and you hit somebody. It's spiritual journey for that child and father or parent. And that's part of the traditional way of disciplinary. I had to do that a couple of times with my 6 kids, but I only had to do it once. And now all my kids are grown up. They're married, got children, and their children has children. So I'm a great grandfather because that red willow helped me and the water helped me so they could raise up to be good people. And so they're all faithful to our longhouse ceremony. My great grandkids can't wait to go to Thunder Dance. And some of them, they're so young, they want to go to every ceremony. They love it. And that's the way a family should be if you're a traditional Indian. And so from that longhouse is the fire. They call that's where the gajista is, the fire is. That's where everything of our knowledge of our life here on this planet Earth is recited one after another throughout the year after year, until we become old and can no longer walk and it's time for us to pass. Then we have our Aduma song, the men, for when we become old and can no longer live here and we got tired. Then with the last strength we have, we sing our Aduma, so that as we pass from the living to the next world, we sing the Dua, so that our grandma and grandmother and mothers and fathers who are at the other world will hear our song and they will gather to welcome us back with them again. So that's sort of like in a shell, a Reader's Digest shell, a small glimpse of traditional family. I don't know too much about Americans' family or Canadian family or English's family or Polish family. Only from what I see on movies and TV, it's different than ours. And so I'll turn it back over to you now. I don't know if anybody has questions or if you understood, if I explained it clearly enough, what I did explain or tell about family. Oh, the other thing I forgot, I might as well say to you now. When I was growing up, when a young woman or a young man begins to change their voice, they call puberty. Puberty. I think they call puberty. I was going to say call it property. Um, but our grandmother and my mother said that when a young girl or young boy changes her from a boy to a man or a woman, girl to a woman, that the Creator gives them 7 times the power that a normal human has. So that's why it's important that when a young girl, young boy is at that stage where they're going to change, that they be thoroughly instructed or knowledgeable about our history, our clans, our ceremony, and their meaning fully. Because if they do, then they can use that seven power that they now have to turn into a man or a woman for the good of the nation and to help them to be strong, good people. But if they, when at that time, have not been instructed about their tradition or their history, their clans or their spiritual ceremonial life, then many times that seven power they have can be used for alcohol or drugs or abuse of women or even the production of children who are abandoned and don't have a father and mother to take care of them. And once they take that path, you can't erase it. It'll ruin little babies' future, and sometimes they won't survive. I know that's heavy, but it's the truth. So that's why the young women and the men, we have to pay attention to them so that their seven power that they have will be used in a constructive way to benefit our village and our nation. And so maybe at this point, I will turn it over to back to the coordinator. If there's questions or something needs clarification, let me know.
Thank you for sharing with us. I don't see any questions through Facebook. Lorraine is asking a question through Zoom. Where can we learn our exit song to sing to our family gone before us?
We have two ceremonies. Can I see that again? What did they say on that? Can you show it again?
Where I just said it, it's on the chat, but it says, where can we learn our exit song to sing to
Oh,
our family?
oh, that song I'm talking about. It's called Adunwa. And Adunwa song, the way my uncle says, is when a little boy, and that Adunwa song is for the men, mostly for the men. Uh, Probably I should say exclusively for the men. And your son or nephew or grandson, when he gets to be about 4 or 5 years old, somewhere around that age, and it all depends on his thinking and maturity at that age. Usually, the father or uncle, when their nephew or son is that age of 4, 5, or 6, will burn tobacco and will ask the Creator, make a request of the Creator that your son or nephew or grandson needs to have a dua song. Could you help him either through a dream or through nature or through whatever means? Can you send him through a dream or a vision or somehow that he will be given a dua song? So once you have burned tobacco requesting that, then you wait until your son or your little one dreams. Maybe it'll come through a dream. The song will come in a dream, and he'll learn that song from the dream. Or my uncle said, maybe if it doesn't come through the dream, then maybe that little boy was walking in a forest and he hears the wind pushing the trees and the branches is hitting each other. And as the branches hit each other, because the wind blew them, that little boy listens, and that is like a drum beat or a rhythm. And then all of a sudden, the other voices in the forest turns into a music for him, and he begins to hum or chant. And that becomes his Aduma song. So that at certain ceremonies throughout the year, men and boys are supposed to sing their song of Aduma at our longhouse. But in addition to that, whenever you are pleased, and it could be every day, or whenever you are so gratified about something, happy, you can sing that song, because that song is a gift from the Creator, and it tells the Creator how happy I am because the Creator provide for you, and you sing that. So people can sing that every day if they wanna. And I know there has been times when I've attended meetings where there were Senecas or Cayugas or Mohawk, and this young people I seen with my own eyes too. And after hearing elders talk, that one young guy, he says, "I'm so happy to hear that. I learned a lot." And he says he start to holler, and then he start to sing that song, his Aduna song, and some traditional women there, they began to clap, and the men, some of them, they stop their feet and they chant with him. And he said, and that was because he heard those elders talking something that he needed to hear, and he was grateful. I seen that a couple of times, and I saw, oh, that's powerful, and how proud I was of them young guys. They weren't ashamed or bashful to sing to the Creator. But then I want to skip now. How many times a man has sung his Aduna song? It's not a death song. It's a personal thanksgiving chant of everything that's good, that's good for you. That's why you sing. And then at the end of one's life, when the old man is almost done and it's going to cross over, I've seen it too in my life, where the old man who's in a bed and doesn't have no more power, just barely living, and he says, "Oh no, what here?" That means I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm ready to go. And he'll say to his son or his nephews, "Wadago skena wase, igra agatkitsko." Can you help me? He says to his sons and nephew, I want to get up. I want to stand up out of the bed. So the son or nephew will grab on both his arms and take him out of the bed and stand him up. And they hold him. And then he begins to sing. And he says first, my Creator, I was married to a good woman all my life. And we had so many kids, so many girls, and so many boys. And then I also have grandchildren and great grandchildren, and they're all well, they're all doing good. All my life, you helped me to survive. I got a real good family, lots of relatives, children and grandchildren, grandchildren. But now I'm ready. I'm done. I got tired of the earth where I live, and I'm going to go now to the next world to join my grandma, great grandma, and all of them, where they have a big feast going. They're waiting for me. So he said, my Creator, thank you for the wonderful life I've had since the day I was born till the day I leave. And now, my Creator, I'm going to sing for you. And he sings that Aduna song for the last time. And when he finishes with the last drink he had, he is satisfied, and his sons or nephews lay him back on a bed, and he closes his eyes, and he's gone to the next world. Oh, how beautiful it is. He knew what he was doing. He taught us. He showed us the journey we must take. And so that's what I wanted to add to that. So women don't have that song, at least not in the Haudenosaunee. But one time I asked my grandmother and my uncle, how come the women don't have that song, just the boys? And here's what they said. They said because when the men and women were born at the beginning, when the world was new, the woman has more power and strength than a man over the lifespan of a human. Woman is stronger, more power than a man. Because a woman is the only one that can bring another baby, a human being, to be born to the world. A man cannot do it. Only the woman. So she has more power. So that woman, because she has more power, doesn't have the song. She don't need it. So the Creator sent those songs to the men so they can become equal with the woman. They can walk with them. That's why they get given the song, because they can't give birth. So now that song gives them the same equal. I don't know if you understand what I mean. That's why only men has that song. But women, when they hear men singing, they always go like this. The whole nation will do that. And all the men will stomp their feet. And so that's what I add to it. I don't know if that answers it or not, but that's how that song comes to be. And if you can't get it through a dream or through the forest of the branches hitting each other or the water going over rocks, then somebody who's in your village or nation who are noted traditional singers, you can go to them with tobacco and ask them if they can find your song for you. And then you can pay them with a shirt or a moccasins or some kind of gift. And then they will teach you that song if you can't get it otherwise. And so I turn it back over to the coordinator here.
Do you have one more time for one more question?
Yeah.
Okay. Vanessa asked, do you know what the meaning or purpose is of the combining of the hair when your partner passes away? Why do they do this?
That one I'm not too familiar with that. I'm not familiar enough to explain that.
That's okay. I think that was our last question. So Thank you so much for being here with us, Tom. We appreciate your time coming on again since you were here last time as well. This is going to conclude our session for today. Before we go, though, um, I would like to tell everyone that our next community wellness series is My Family is My Medicine on April 23rd at 8:15 p.m. It is a movie night at the Gathering Place on Six Nations. This one will not be virtual and we do have limited space, so registration is mandatory. So if you could just email me if you're interested at sncoas@sixnations.ca. Also, some very, very exciting news to announce. We will be having an encore event. So this one wasn't even on our calendar. The Iroquois Social as Medicine on May 14th at 1 p.m. through Zoom and Facebook Live. This one's fully virtual. Join us to learn about some social songs and dances. And you can email me again to register at sncoas@sixnations.ca. I just want to turn it over to Tom again. If you could do a closing prayer so that we can end the session.
I'm going to do it just in Mohawk this time. Nekati ono agahewe. Nene we want do the listen. You are going to yeli. Nekati sangwa ona you going to get it. Sangwa ya listen. Nekati we want ono doctor ang katkawa. Nene was squaya the gitna. Yung gedake. Ogoya da yeli. Nene what going to hold on. Nene kwa ona going to get it. Start your hanjate. Neka dogo chiseko sat ko hage yung koya de notla. Nene we yuli huano. Neka diwi wan wat ko na ko 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 beko. Neka de wat ko hola do start your hanjate. Dai ka de ni to ko kwa ni gula. Chino don't show you do nyanyo. Ono kwa so ka hi so. No gwele so. Ka la lunyo. Chino hodi ya kwa yantos. Yo hekwa. Agwe ko I ti stans ka wa don. Dia tino hola do no ni sladi. Dai ka de ni to ko kwa ni gula. Kadiwi wahe ne no kundilio. Kuntawinio no knya okta ke kachen no na dum. Gwan sok tongya no na dawaya. Ne gadi tilo a gwe konskane on ado. Tani di tino hola ado. Unja gwe ko ne kundilio dai kadine ni ton kan kwa ni gona. Kadiwi wahe ne ona ne gadine ene kana kwa achi dan so ko kanukya. Kun ndana lotha. Kan lios. Ne gadine ni oni di tino hola ado. Dai kadine ni ton kan kwa ni gona. Una gadisa ene kana kwa nene kai ni kawala ke nene iwala lake chuhunja de ludio dake chini oliwa songo ya disa rawelo hudiot la dili waye lich ne ka di ali huni die tino holado kai ni kawala ke tai ka di ni tok ngwa ni gula ka di wi wahe ona nene iti soto gwa la di welas nene wi wahe ludige doktor okna ne ka di ne ni oni I ona kwe konge kwa gweko yo kwa wenu di di tino holado iti soto gwa la di welas ta eka di ni tok ngwa ni gula di wi wahi ona te kalah kwa ke loko tako te kalu hiate si de wachia no knioni iti sota sotna kalah kwa ne na kwa yo ko na gera ti tino molado tai ka ne ni to kan kwa ni kula ona ka di wi wahi ne ka I nyongwe take ne wi wahi agwe ko li hoyon to ne ni tini ko li hoda ni ti ngwe takwa ngwe ne wi wahi ngwe lasla ne kai hui yo kai nyongwe kai ni li wage ko di se gata agwe ko jina hoda de sangwa wi ne ka di ne ena kwa yo ko no di tino molado ne wi la dun ya gelone kai ni ngwe take tai ka de ni to kwa ni guma ona ka di wi wahi ne e to sangwa ya di so jino ton ja ya kalu ya ke no a se chiniet lo kwa tako ne sti ne ka di wi wa ona Scotty go on my day, got Nicola soon. The children who don't. Saha, Jay was some guy at the gate now. What they was think out there. Then Ginny Holly Holder, the song of some guy at this or soon about what Soliano. Nega the owner, children who are the song way at this or die got in you don't got any going. And so here got it took what the what any owner. Jackie Holder, you go at the lean on the slody. Die got in you don't got any going. The last one is we thank the Creator for allowing us through this Zoom mechanism that we were able to talk a little bit about the teachings that our Creator gave to us when the world was new. And we hope that everyone who listened, it was helpful. And we say thank you to our Creator for allowing us to do this today. And now I have closed this gathering. Yama.
Yamagoa.
Yeah.